Fellow Stoic, they never wanted you to know this. Your mind is your most powerful tool, but only if you learn to control it. Here's how to become mentally limitless. What if I told you that your mind is the only thing standing between you and a limitless life? Every battle you have ever fought, every obstacle you have ever faced, every moment of doubt, fear, or hesitation, it all started in one place, your mind. Weak thoughts create a weak life, and that is exactly what they wanted. They wanted you distracted, emotional, enslaved to impulses, and controlled by fear. But there's another way. You were never meant to be ruled by your emotions. You were never meant to be a slave to distractions, reacting to the world like a puppet on a string. You were meant to master yourself. You were meant to be unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. And the ancient Stoics knew exactly how to train the mind into a fortress of discipline, control, and power. In this video, you're going to learn how to break free from the chains of weak thinking. You'll discover the secret techniques used by the greatest Stoic minds, techniques that emperors, warriors, and philosophers used to command themselves and, in turn, command their destinies. If that resonates with you, like this video and comment yes below. The truth is, your thoughts are the architects of your reality, and those who do not control their thoughts, they are controlled by something or someone else. Stay until the end, because once you see what they tried to keep from you, you will never be the same again. Why your mind shapes your reality. Your mind is under siege. Every day, you are bombarded with distractions, fears, and illusions designed to keep you trapped. You feel it, don't you? The constant noise, the creeping anxiety, the way the world pushes you to react instead of reflect. They tell you who you are. They define your limitations before you've even had the chance to question them. They make you believe that your struggles, your pain, your past mistakes, these are chains that bind you rather than lessons that can set you free. But deep down, something in you resists. Something in you knows that there is more. That the power to shape your reality, to determine your future, does not lie in their hands. It lies within your mind. And once you reclaim it, nothing and no one can ever control you again. The greatest deception of all is the illusion that you are powerless. Look around you. How many people drift through life, convinced that they are victims of their circumstances? They blame fate, bad luck, the economy, other people. They live in a state of reaction, never realizing that it is not their situation that imprisons them, but their perception of it. Two people can face the same tragedy. One falls into despair, while the other transforms it into strength. What separates them? Not the event itself, but the meaning they assign to it. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius ruled over a crumbling empire, surrounded by betrayal, disease, and war. Yet he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This is not just philosophy, it is reality. Every thought you cultivate is a seed, and whether it grows into weakness or strength is entirely up to you. But they don't want you to know this. They need you weak. They need you emotional, reactive, and easy to manipulate. They feed you distractions, anger, and fear because a mind consumed by these things has no space for discipline, clarity, or self-mastery. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who later became one of the greatest philosophers of all time, once said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. They can only control you if you allow it. They can only push you into anger, into despair, into hopelessness if you surrender the reins of your mind. But here's the truth. You do not have to accept every thought that enters your mind. You do not have to be a slave to every impulse, every fear, every external event. Like a sculptor shaping marble, you have the power to carve your own reality from within. And when you begin to master this, everything changes. At first, it feels subtle. You stop reacting to things that once enraged you. You start noticing that your mind is clearer, sharper, more disciplined. People around you sense it. Your presence carries more weight. Your words have more power because you are no longer easily shaken. Opportunities start to appear, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed the way you see it. The same doors that were always there suddenly open because you now have the vision to recognize them. You no longer waste energy on what you cannot control. Instead, you channel it into what you can, your discipline, your focus, your resilience. This is a power they never wanted you to harness. Because a mind that is trained, a mind that is disciplined, is unstoppable. But the real question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop letting the world dictate your reality? Are you ready to take control, to master your own mind, to break free from the illusions that have held you back? If this resonates with you, if you feel that shift beginning, comment mine below, because this is only the beginning. The path to self-mastery is not easy, but it is the only path that leads to true freedom. Stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. The Stoic habit of mental toughness. You have been lied to. They have spent your entire life conditioning you to believe that comfort is a goal, that ease is a reward, that the absence of struggle is what makes life worth living. They have fed you convenience, distraction, and indulgence, not to make you happy, but to make you weak. Because a mind that is soft is a mind that is easy to control. A mind that avoids hardship will never develop the strength to resist manipulation. And so, they have trained you to flinch at discomfort, to crumble under pressure, to see adversity as a curse rather than the forge in which greatness is made. But deep inside, you know that something is wrong. You feel it every time you hesitate, every time you retreat when you should push forward, every time you let fear dictate your choices. You were not meant to live this way. You were meant to be resilient. You were meant to be unbreakable. And the Stoics knew exactly how to train the mind into an indomitable force. They feared nothing because they prepared for everything. The Stoics understood that hardship was not an anomaly, but a certainty, and the only way to conquer it was to embrace it willingly. But modern society has removed every lesson of endurance, every opportunity to develop real inner strength, replacing them with immediate gratification and the illusion of control. Now, the smallest inconvenience sends people into a spiral. A delayed flight, a rude comment, an unexpected obstacle. These things ruin entire days, sometimes entire lives, because no one has been taught how to endure. You have seen this weakness in others, and if you are honest, you have seen it in yourself. The moment life becomes difficult, doubt creeps in. You start asking, why me, instead of what can I learn from this? You start looking for someone to blame instead of seeking the opportunity hidden within the struggle. But the Stoics knew better. Epictetus, who began life as a slave and yet became a teacher of emperors, wrote, "Difficulties show what men are. Therefore, when a difficulty confronts you, remember that the gods, like a trainer of wrestlers, have matched you with a rough opponent." They knew that every hardship was a test, not a punishment. And the greater the challenge, the greater the transformation. This is what they never wanted you to understand. That pain is not something to fear, but something to use. The body grows stronger under resistance, and so does the mind. Seneca, who advised one of the most powerful emperors in Rome, knew this well. He did not just write about resilience. He lived it. His wealth, his power, his influence meant nothing to him because he trained himself to be just as content without them. He advised, set aside a certain number of days during which you should be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself all the while, is this a condition that I feared? This was not a mere exercise in minimalism. It was a deliberate act of preparation. Because if you can endure discomfort voluntarily, you will never be afraid of losing comfort unwillingly. If you have already faced hardship by choice, no hardship can ever break you. This is a practice of true toughness, not blind endurance, but calculated exposure to difficulty until nothing in the world can shake you. And when you start training your mind this way, everything changes. You stop reacting like the rest of the world. You no longer flinch at hardship, you welcome it. You see adversity, and instead of backing down, you step forward because you know that every struggle is strengthening you. When others complain about how unfair life is, you stay calm because you have already prepared for the worst. You become someone people look to in times of crisis, because while they are drowning in their emotions, you are standing firm. The way people speak to you changes. The way they perceive you shifts. They sense that you are different, that you are no longer ruled by fear, by impulse, by weakness. You begin to notice that the things that once bothered you now barely register. The insults, the failures, the setbacks, they no longer define you. And in that moment, you realize that you have won. Because true power is not the ability to control the world. It is the ability to control yourself. But the real question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop crumbling under pressure, to stop letting the world dictate your emotional state? Are you ready to take back control, to train your mind as the Stoics did, to become immune to the forces that seek to weaken you? If you are, then comment tough below. Because toughness is not something you are born with, it is something you build. And once you have it, no one can take it from you. But resilience alone is not enough. Toughness without focus is wasted energy. And they have spent decades ensuring that your focus is broken. Stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. Before we go further, ask yourself this. When was the last time you had absolute, undisturbed focus? A moment where your mind was fully in your control, free from distractions? They do not want you to train this ability, because a focused mind is a dangerous mind. A mind that cannot be manipulated, cannot be controlled. So if you want to reclaim your mind, subscribe right now and share this video with someone who needs to hear this. And if you believe in the power of self-mastery, click the super thanks button to support this mission. Because now, we're going even deeper. Eliminating distraction for absolute focus. Your mind is under attack, not in some abstract, theoretical way, but in a constant, deliberate assault engineered to pull you away from the present moment. Every ping, every buzz, every flickering screen is a trap, one designed to hijack your attention and scatter it into 1,000 meaningless fragments. You don't need to look far to see the evidence. A man sits down to read, but his phone lights up. A woman steps into a moment of silence, but the weight of an endless stream of information rushes in to fill the void. Focus, once a sharp blade used to carve meaning from the chaos of existence, has been dulled to the point of near uselessness. And yet, the Stoics knew better. They lived in a world without social media, without streaming services, without an unrelenting deluge of entertainment at their fingertips. But still, they understood the necessity of guarding their minds against distraction. Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled a vast Roman Empire, recognized that the most important domain to govern was his own soul. He wrote, "Nowhere can you find a quiet or more untroubled retreat than in your own soul, especially if you have within you a sense of peace and stillness." But how many today can truly retreat into their own minds without feeling restless, without reaching for something external to fill the silence? The answer is unsettling. Distraction is not just an inconvenience, it is a form of enslavement. A mind that cannot be still is a mind that is not free. It is constantly pulled in directions it did not choose, responding to external demands rather than acting with deliberate intention. Consider Seneca's warning, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This is the fate of a modern distracted mind. It flits from one task to another, skimming the surface of everything, mastering nothing, always in motion yet never truly present. The cost of this is profound. Deep work becomes impossible. Wisdom remains elusive. Clarity is drowned in the noise. The solution is not simply to work harder, to push through the distractions with sheer force of will. That is like trying to hold back a flood with bare hands. The Stoics understood that discipline is not about force, but about control. It is about knowing what to allow into your mind and what to shut out. It is about curating your attention with precision, as a master sculptor chisels away everything that does not serve the final vision. It means eliminating the unnecessary, cutting off the distractions at their source, and reclaiming your ability to focus with absolute clarity. One of the greatest tragedies of distraction is that it prevents people from knowing themselves. Most people never sit in true solitude. They never listen to their own thoughts, never confront their own emotions, never engage in the deep reflection necessary to cultivate wisdom. Instead, they drown their inner world in a sea of noise, music, podcasts, television, endless scrolling, never allowing a single moment of silence. But the Stoics sought silence deliberately. They knew that in stillness, the mind sharpens. In solitude, the self is revealed. Imagine this, a man who has never spent an hour alone without stimulation. He wakes up to notifications, fills his commute with podcasts, works while responding to messages, entertains himself with social media, and falls asleep to a show playing in the background. He is never alone with his thoughts. And when he finally tries to be still, he feels an unbearable restlessness, an anxiety that pushes him back toward distraction. He has been trained, conditioned, to fear his own mind. This is the ultimate loss, because without time spent in stillness, how can one know what truly matters? How can one develop the resilience, the clarity, the focus that the Stoics held in such high regard. The modern world makes it easy to be distracted, but the Stoic chooses a different path. He does not scroll mindlessly. He does not consume passively. To reclaim your focus, you must be ruthless in what you allow to occupy your attention. You must limit your inputs. Do not let your mind become a dumping ground for trivialities. Choose what you consume with care. Read deliberately. Work deeply. Engage fully. When distractions arise, recognize them for what they are, chains attempting to shackle your mind. Break free. Train yourself to sit in silence. Strengthen your ability to focus like a muscle. Make stillness a practice, not a punishment. Because focus is not just about productivity, it is about power. The power to control your own thoughts, to shape your own mind, to direct your own life. The more you give in to distraction, the weaker your will becomes. The more you practice focus, the stronger you grow. The world will continue to tempt you with noise, but you are not obligated to listen. You can choose a different way, the Stoic way. If you can discipline your mind, if you can eliminate distractions, if you can master the ability to focus, you will possess something rare and valuable in a world consumed by chaos. And once you achieve this, you will not just be free from distraction, you will be unstoppable, reframing challenges as opportunities. Your mind is under siege, and you can feel it every moment. Something is clawing at your attention, pulling you in a dozen different directions at once. You wake up, and before you've even had a chance to think your own thoughts, the world bombards you. Notifications, emails, endless feeds of content engineered to steal your focus. It's no coincidence. They are designed this system to ensure that you are always reacting, never reflecting. That your mind is always scattered, never still. Because a distracted mind is a weak mind. A mind that is constantly pulled away from itself never has a chance to develop true clarity, true discipline, true power. And so you remain trapped, not because you lack intelligence, not because you lack potential, but because you have been conditioned to be at the mercy of every impulse, every ping, every flashing screen. But you are not alone in this struggle, and there is a way out. The Stoics knew that the ability to control your focus is the ability to control your life. And those who master their attention become unstoppable. But look around. How many people have lost this battle? How many spend hours drowning in distraction, scrolling mindlessly, consuming rather than creating? They wonder why they feel anxious, why they can't get anything done, why they never seem to make real progress. It is because they are never present. Their minds are constantly hijacked by noise. And it is not just technology that is the enemy. It is a culture of urgency, of endless stimulation, of constant comparison. It is a world convincing you that you must always be entertained, that silence is uncomfortable, that boredom is something to be avoided rather than embraced. But this is where they have lied to you. The truth is, stillness is not emptiness, it is power. Focus is not limitation, it is liberation. When you reclaim your attention, when you train yourself to block out the unnecessary, you do not lose anything. You gain everything. You gain control over your mind, your emotions, your destiny. The Stoics understood this long before the modern world turned distraction into an industry. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, had endless responsibilities, an empire to govern, wars to fight, betrayals to manage. And yet, he wrote, "Nowhere can you find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in your own soul." He knew that true power does not come from controlling external events, but from mastering the internal world. And this mastery begins with stillness. Seneca advised practicing deliberate withdrawal from distractions, teaching that to be everywhere is to be nowhere. He understood that when you scatter your attention across 1,000 things, you become ineffective at all of them. Epictetus was even more direct. If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because the pursuit of focus often means rejecting what everyone else embraces: constant entertainment, endless engagement, the illusion of productivity. The path to power, to mastery, requires a willingness to step away, to be still, to sit alone with your thoughts without reaching for an escape. And when you do this, when you begin to eliminate distractions, the transformation is undeniable. At first, it feels unnatural. The urge to check your phone, to fill the silence, to seek out stimulation, it all tugs at you like an addiction. But as the noise fades, something remarkable happens. Your mind sharpens. Your thoughts become clearer. You start to notice things you never did before. You begin to think deeply, rather than skim the surface of everything. You find that you can work longer without fatigue, that your creativity surges, that problems which once seemed overwhelming suddenly appear solvable. And the most powerful shift of all, you become calm. The anxiety, the restlessness, the constant feeling of being behind, it all begins to dissolve. Because for the first time in a long time, your mind belongs to you. The world no longer dictates where your attention goes. You do. But the real question is, are you ready? Are you ready to take back your focus, to reclaim your ability to think, to build the kind of mind that cannot be pulled off course? Because this is not a passive process. You must actively fight for your attention, guard it like a treasure, refuse to let it be stolen by things that do not serve you. If you are ready to break free from the distractions that have held you captive, then comment focus below. Because focus is not just about eliminating noise, it is about transforming your entire existence. But focus alone is not enough. Because once you reclaim your mind, you must also learn how to turn every obstacle into opportunity. And that is exactly what we will tackle next. Stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. What if I told you that true power lies in mastering your thoughts? That every fear, every hesitation, every limitation exists only in your mind? And that once you master it, no one can control you again? Stay with me. This is a final step. Becoming unstoppable through thought control. Your thoughts are not always your own. That voice in your head, the one that tells you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that others are better than you, that voice was planted there. You were never taught to question it. You were never told that you don't have to accept every thought that enters your mind. Instead, you were conditioned to believe that if a thought appears, it must be true. But what if I told you that most of these thoughts are nothing more than illusions? That they were placed in you by your past experiences, by your fears, by the expectations of others, by a society that thrives on keeping you insecure? If you have ever felt trapped by your own mind, if you've ever felt powerless against a flood of self-doubt, anxiety, or hesitation, know this, you are not alone. But more importantly, know this, your thoughts do not own you. You own them. And once you understand this, once you learn to control the very foundation of your reality, you will become unstoppable. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world, but against your own mind. Think about how much time and energy you have lost to thoughts that serve no purpose other than to weaken you. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you told yourself, I'm not ready? How many days have been ruined because you allowed one negative thought to spiral into a storm of self-doubt? This is not fate. This is not destiny. This is mental conditioning that has never been challenged. Weak minds believe every thought they think. They let their fears dictate their actions. Their impulses define their character. But the masters of this world, the ones who rise above, do something different. They filter their thoughts. They do not react to every impulse. They choose what to accept and what to discard. They treat thoughts like a warrior selecting his weapons, rejecting those that weaken them, sharpening the ones that make them stronger. And this ability, this skill of mental discipline, is a difference between a life of limitation and a life of absolute power. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, understood this better than anyone. Despite being an emperor, despite holding dominion over millions, he knew that the only true battle was the one inside his own mind. He wrote, "Your mind will be like its habitual thoughts, for the soul takes its color from them." What does this mean? It means that what you allow yourself to dwell on, what you choose to believe, shapes your entire existence. If you focus on fear, you will live a fearful life. If you focus on anger, you will be consumed by rage. But if you train yourself to think with clarity, with reason, with strength, then your mind becomes unshakable. Seneca took this further, warning that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The Stoics knew that most pain, most hesitation, most of what holds us back is nothing more than illusion, a prison of our own making. And once you see the bars, you realize that you were never really trapped at all. And when you begin to master this, when you learn to take control of your thoughts instead of letting them control you, everything in your life starts to shift. You no longer react emotionally to every insult, every setback, every difficulty. You become the kind of person who can stand in the storm and remain unmoved. Fear loses its grip on you because you have trained yourself to question it, to strip it of its power. Where others spiral into doubt, you remain clear, decisive, unstoppable. The people around you will notice. They will sense that something about you is different. They will see that you do not waver, that you do not break, that you no longer play by the same rules that keep them trapped. And soon, they will look to you for guidance, for strength, for the very thing that they have been missing in themselves. This is the path of the Stoic. Not to live without thought or emotion, but to master them completely. But the real question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop being at the mercy of every passing thought, to stop letting fear and self-doubt dictate your life? Are you ready to take control, to step into the kind of mental power that cannot be shaken, cannot be broken? Because if you are, then this is your moment. Comment I am Stoic below if you are ready to break free from the illusions that have held you back. If you are ready to train your mind into a fortress of discipline, clarity, and absolute control. Because once you reach this level, once you master the skill, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not even fate itself. Stay with me, because what comes next will take you even further. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest enemy. There is no middle ground. Every day, in every moment, it is either working for you or against you. It is either sharpening your resolve or dulling your edge. It is either carrying you toward greatness or holding you back in mediocrity. The battle is internal, waged not with swords and shields, but with discipline, awareness, and a relentless commitment to mastery. The question is not whether you will face this battle. You already are. The only question is whether you will win. The greatest adversary you will ever encounter is not an external force. It is not a boss who doubts you, a system that frustrates you, or an obstacle that stands in your way. It is a voice inside your head that tells you to give up, to take the easy road, to settle for less than what you are capable of. It is a weakness that urges you to hit the snooze button, to procrastinate, to avoid discomfort. It is the impulse that seeks distraction over discipline, indulgence over improvement, comfort over challenge. That is the enemy. That is the opponent that must be defeated. The Stoics understood that mastery of the mind was the highest form of power. Epictetus, born a slave and rising to become one of the greatest philosophers in history, knew that the only true freedom is internal. He wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Think about that. You can have wealth, influence, status. You can be surrounded by luxury, but if your mind is weak, if you are ruled by your impulses, you are still a prisoner to your distractions, a prisoner to your fears, a prisoner to every fleeting emotion that dictates your actions. But if you master yourself, if you command your thoughts with discipline, if you choose your responses rather than being controlled by your reactions, then you are untouchable. Then nothing can stop you. Most people will never reach this level of control. They will spend their lives at the mercy of their emotions, victims of circumstance, constantly blaming the world for their shortcomings while failing to realize that the war was always within. They will let fear dictate their decisions. They will let comfort erode their ambition. They will let distractions steal their potential. They will tell themselves they want greatness, but when the time comes to act, they will choose ease over effort, safety over growth, entertainment over elevation. They will remain trapped, not because the world held them back, but because they refuse to master themselves. But you are not most people. You are here for a reason. You have made it this far because something inside you refuses to settle, refuses to be ruled by weakness, refuses to let life pass by in a haze of distractions and wasted time. You recognize the truth that the greatest victories are won in the mind long before they are ever realized in the world. The warrior does not sharpen his blade on the battlefield. He prepares long before the fight begins. The mind is no different. You cannot wait until adversity strikes to begin strengthening yourself. You must train every day. You must condition your thoughts with discipline, temper your emotions with reason, forge your will with action. This is the way of the Stoic. This is a path to mastery. And what happens when you walk this path? What happens when you commit fully, when you train your mind with the same dedication that a soldier trained for war? Everything changes. The small annoyances that once bothered you fade into insignificance. The fears that once held you back dissolve in the face of your resolve. The distractions that once consumed you lose their power. You begin to see life with absolute clarity. You take control. You become unshakable. Imagine moving through the world with complete composure, never rattled by setbacks, never controlled by external events, never weakened by doubt. Imagine waking up every day with a clear purpose, focused on your mission, immune to the trivial nonsense that wastes the time of ordinary people. If this video helped you, subscribe, share, like, and comment "I am Stoic" below. Not because it is a meaningless phrase, but because it is a declaration, a statement of intent, a commitment to the path. The journey begins now.